What is up, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Happy Thursday. I think it's been like a full week since I've checked in with our club group members, and so apologies for that. It's been a crazy week. It's been very very busy, not only in my own business but also in the group, and then overlaying the holiday weekend, short week on top of all that. It's just it's been a lot going on, and so wanted to check in with you. Obviously, this is a walk and talk special edition version. I'm not walking, but that comes with two advantages. One, hopefully, I should not start sweating at any point in this video, which is good. Another shake up there. And then also, we're going to take advantage of me being at a desk right now and do some whiteboarding as well for our talking point when we get to that. But before we do, just a couple announcements. One, yesterday I was able to sit down with one of our Millionaire Recruiter Elite members, Parker Cheney. Parker joined us about a little over 2 months ago, I believe. He joined our Elite program, and those of you that are familiar know that our Elite program is for folks that have already been operating as typically a 360 recruiter, solopreneur, working a full desk, has seen some success in terms of cash flowing and revenue generation, but really looking to kind of scale their business, build out a team, take things to the next level, and start tracking towards seven figures. And so that's where Parker was at when he came to us. And so we wanted to meet him where he was at in his business. And so what he was trying to achieve was essentially building out a team so that he could scale. And so within the first 2 months of him being in, he was able to execute our VA strategy and hiring a VA, onboarding a VA. That VA was able to hit the ground running, producing for him immediately. And within the first 60 days, she has billed an additional $50,000 for him in just 2 months, which is absolutely awesome. And so just yet another example of someone coming into the group, taking action, executing the strategy to a T, and winning. And so love that for him. And so yeah, definitely encourage you, for those of you that are already up and running, considering feeling like you need to take things up to the next level, definitely encourage you to watch that testimonial. It's a little different flavor from the ones that we put out already. Next week, we're going to be doing another testimonial. Our goal is to crank one out once a week, which we do have. We've got quite a few options there with people winning in the group, which is awesome. Grateful for that, but excited to share it with everybody in the club group as well. The other thing I want to announce is tomorrow, our weekly AMA Ask Me Anything call, 12 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on Friday, is still on. Please join us for that. If you're not currently in the Mastermind or Elite groups and you want to speak with me directly, you want to ask me questions about your business, things you're struggling with, about coming into the program, really whatever the case may be, no holds barred. I'm here for it. So please, please, please join us for that. At the beginning of the call, I'll give you, I have a talking point that I like to go over just to kind of give you a sense for what we're about philosophically in the program, what we're achieving and working towards with members in our group, just to kind of give you a flavor for what we're about. And then, of course, at the end, I'll open it up for Q&A, and we'll go for as long as people have questions. So if you got something on your mind, you want to connect, you want to ask me something direct, meet us there. If you don't have the link to that and you want the link, drop a 1 in the comments. I think a lot of people have it already, but if you don't, drop a 1 in the comments of this video and we will get that over to you ASAP. Now, let's get into it. Like I said before, since I'm at a desk, we're going to take advantage of that and do a little whiteboarding here to illustrate my talking point to you today. And so what I want to discuss today, we did a poll in the group, I think over the weekend or last Friday, I can't remember exactly when, but overwhelming majority of you who voted are struggling with business development. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see new recruiters that enter the recruiting space, one of the biggest mistakes that I see them make is on their pricing, the pricing of their services. And so that psychologically, I think what's happening is people don't feel confident or self-assured in their ability or their experience in recruiting yet. And so they think that the right move is to come into the space and try to compete on price. And I'm here to tell you that that is a massive mistake, massive, massive, massive mistake, big, big mistake. And I'm going to explain why in detail here in a second. But and candidly, this is a mistake that I made when I entered the direct hire space. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that, but it's true. When I first started direct hire recruiting, I came in at 15% fees. And Yeah, it was the wrong move, and so I'm going to explain why. And again, let me pull up this whiteboard so we can do some visuals, which is kind of a new thing for the walk and talks. Okay, so let's get right into it. So in order to understand, make sure this is working. Cool. In order to understand this whole strategy and psychology around pricing, you really need to understand a few things. And the first thing that you need to understand is that no matter anytime somebody is buying something or spending money on something, whether that be a hiring manager or HR professional within an organization that's considering signing your agreement, or whether that's someone shopping at the grocery store or buying clothes at the mall or purchasing a car or taking a trip, whatever the case may be, anytime somebody is looking to spend money, they are always looking for a deal. Okay? They're always looking for a deal. The problem here, and I don't think I'm breaking any news to anybody by saying that. I don't expect your head to explode by dropping that little nugget on you there. But the mistake that most people make around trying to make a deal for their target market is that they assume that making a deal is associated with cheap or discounted pricing. It's a major, major mistake. And I'm here to tell you, especially in recruiting, if you want to avoid the commoditization phenomenon that happens in our industry and you want to be taken seriously by the clients that you ultimately, trust me, that you want to work with, that are going to pay, that have good roles to work on, quality roles that pay high fees, 20, 25,000, 30,000 and on up per placement, that the deal that they are looking to get is different than the deal that you're thinking of in terms of discounted pricing or cheap. Okay. The deal that they are looking for is the deal where the value that they receive from your service exceeds in a big way the price that they are paying for that service. Okay. The value that they are getting exceeds the price that they are paying. And that's illustrated through something I call PVG. Okay, PVG. PVG, and PVG stands for price to value gap. All right, and so the best way to describe and illustrate price to value gap is you have a positive and you can have a negative price to value gap. A positive price to value gap is when the value, as I described before, the value is higher than the price that the client is paying. All right. And the gap associated is in this space here. All right. This is a positive price to value gap. All right. A negative price to value gap is the exact opposite of that, where the price exceeds the value that is received. Okay. This is negative. What we're always and should always be focusing on here in order to deliver a deal is a positive PVG, a positive price to value gap. That is going to ultimately deliver a deal. And so let me give you an example of that. Let's say I make a placement at one of my clients and the salary of the candidate that we place is $150,000. The fee that we charge ultimately yields me $40,000 in revenue, meaning it costs my client $40,000 for us to make that placement of that candidate. However, that candidate was so good and the service was so excellent. We understood their needs and their pain points in their business, and we're able to deliver that. And as it relates to the candidate that we were able to supply them, that candidate was able to hit the ground running in their organization, begin producing, and ultimately, within the first year, the efforts of that candidate and the output of that candidate's work ultimately resulted in, let's say, $1 million in top line revenue added from the year before. Okay. And so that is an excellent example of where the value that they received, the $1 million in top line revenue, far exceeded the cost that they paid to get that candidate, $40,000, which is technically $40K for a $150,000 salaried employee, is at a premium. That is not cheap by any means, but the client still feels like they got a deal. Okay. And so these are the type of deals that we need to make. all right, that we need to strive to make. And ultimately, these are the type of deals that serious quality clients, regardless of what niche you're in, those are the types of deals that they want to receive. They don't care about cheap, they want to receive the value. Okay. Now, on the flip side here, if you find yourself in a negative PVG, a negative price to value gap, then if you are currently working with a client and at any moment your value dips below, in their perception, dips below the price that they are paying, they will immediately stop doing business with you. I promise you. They will immediately stop working with you 100%. I guarantee it. If you are talking to a potential lead and you are trying to explain your value proposition, share the value that you are bringing, and they are not understanding or seeing that the value that you could potentially deliver is going to exceed the price that you are going to ultimately charge them, then you're going to find yourself in this situation as well. And they will not sign your agreement. They will not take you seriously. They will not do business with you. It just will not happen. Okay. Now, what most people do, and this is what happens all the time in the recruiting industry, we talk about the commoditization of recruiting, where everybody kind of does the same thing. They've got the same pitch. Their outreach to clients and business development is about the same. Everything's the same for most. And so the value that they're delivering is kind of the same. And so what people feel the need to do in order to create this gap without knowing that they need to create this gap is they think that they need to lower their price. Okay? So, if price and value are super close together, in order for me to create this gap and as big a gap as possible, I'm going to lower my price. That's the wrong mentality. And that's the mentality from a visual standpoint of what new recruiters typically do and think is the right move to do. And instead, what you should be doing in order to create this gap is you should be figuring out ways to increase the value that you are delivering. That will also extend that gap as far as possible, okay? And this is where your head needs to be as it relates to your pricing. Now, listen, I know that a lot of people probably already know this, but I think that it's true that a lot of you maybe don't as well, and that's this. People perceive value in premium pricing. Okay, there's a famous study where scientists put in front of a sample group, where scientists put 3 different glasses of wine in front of a group of folks, a group of panelists, and basically put the price of that wine, of each glass, in front of the glass before they sampled it. They had a high price, they had a medium price, and they had a low price. And so everybody sampled the wine, and then they were asked to rate that wine, each glass, in terms of taste, based on their sampling, okay, based on the taste test. And so, of course, without fail, they ranked sequentially high, medium, and low. What they did not know is that the same exact wine was poured in each glass, okay? And so the perceived value based on pricing is that there is more value, okay? With the higher price, that there is more value. And your clients that you're targeting and the clients that you're working with are going to feel the same way. Now, there are a couple things also psychologically that happen with premium pricing. With premium pricing, it's requiring a much higher investment from your client for your services. And as such, because the investment that they are making in your services is significant, their emotional investment to get it right and work with you will also be increased. I guarantee you that. Okay, that's an absolute fact. The other thing that is super important and what premium pricing will deliver to you is, like I said earlier, the perceived value of your service. That it must be good if it is this, if the price is this high, and so it creates a little bit of curiosity. The other thing is that those who truly are in desperate need of top-notch recruiters and are in serious pain as it relates to the workforce solutions that they are seeking, they're going to want the best of the best. And if you're floating out 15% fees, 10% fees, you are not projecting and you are not messaging that to the market. And finally, one of the awesome things about premium pricing is that your profits are much higher. And what do we get to do with profits? Well, we obviously get to put profits in our pocket, but profits also put us in a position to reinvest back into our business to ultimately, let me get my whiteboard back up here, to ultimately invest in the technology, invest in the team, invest in the strategy, invest in the training, increase the value that we are delivering to our clients. Got to have profits to be able to do that, to be able to reinvest back into your business. If you don't have profits, your value is going to stagnate. You're never going to be able to increase that. Okay. Got to have profits to do that. And you only get profits through premium pricing. If you're charging sub benchmark, substandard, sub industry pricing, your profits are going to be razor thin, and you're ultimately not going to be able to compete on value because you're not going to have the money to invest back into the business to do so. Okay. Super, super, super important. I really encourage all of you to not make this mistake. There's more details around this, but at a high level, I wanted to get that in front of you because I know a lot of you are struggling, a lot of new folks in the group as well, who I think are making that mistake. And so I wanted to put that bug in your ear. Have a great day. That concludes our talking point. Have a great day. And we'll catch you later. Ciao.